You know, when you think of New York City, that skyline is probably the first thing that comes to mind. It's just iconic. But what if I told you its famous shape has nothing to do with a grand plan, but everything to do with ancient rock? Or that some of its buildings are actually hiding huge secrets, literally lying to you? Well, today we're digging into the secret history of New York City, from its lost masterpieces to its fake houses.
So let's start with the biggest mystery, one you can see from miles away. Why are all the tallest skyscrapers clustered together in Midtown, and then way downtown in the financial district, with this huge valley of shorter buildings right in the middle? I mean, was that on purpose? Did they run out of money? What's going on here?
Well, the answer has nothing to do with money or some master plan. It's actually about something much, much older and way deeper. It's all about the rock the city is built on.
Yeah, it all comes down to this incredibly hard type of rock called Manhattan schist. Think of it like this. In Midtown and downtown, that super strong bedrock is really close to the surface, making it the perfect solid anchor for giant skyscrapers. But right in the middle of the island, that same rock dips way, way down, buried under a bunch of soft soil. It's just too expensive and difficult to build tall there. So the city's famous silhouette, it's literally shaped by hidden geology. Okay, so nature gave the city its foundation, but then, of course, people came along and decided to slap a radical, almost brutally simple order on top of the island's natural, chaotic landscape. The city started out as New Amsterdam, right? It had these charming, curvy streets and Dutch-style houses. But in 1811, everything changed. The commissioner's plan came along, and it was a total reset. It basically ignored all the natural hills, streams, and forests and just steamrolled a rigid grid over everything. It was all about efficiency and maximizing real estate, and that single decision really set the stage for the dense, vertical city we know today.
So with the grid all laid out, there was really only one direction left to build, and that was up. But to really start the race to the sky, you needed a couple of huge breakthroughs, both in technology and, believe it or not, in the city's rules. Two inventions just blew the lid off building height. First was the steel frame. All of a sudden, a building's skeleton could hold all the weight, which meant the walls were basically just curtains to keep the rain out. Game changer. And then you have Elisha Otis and his safety elevator. You know, the one that wouldn't crash to the ground if a cable snapped. Because, let's be real, without that, who's going to want to work on the 50th floor?
So as these skyscrapers shot up, they created a new problem. They formed these dark, sunless canyons on the streets below. People were not happy. This outcry led to the 1916 zoning resolution, a law that completely reshaped the city's look. It required buildings to have setbacks. They had to get narrower as they got taller to let the sunlight reach the street. And that one simple rule is what gives us that iconic, tiered wedding cake look of all those beloved Art Deco masterpieces like the Chrysler and the Empire State Building.
Now, while this amazing new era of building gave us some of the city's most famous landmarks, it definitely came at a cost. See, this relentless push for progress meant that for every new icon that went up, an old one often had to come down. Let me tell you about a world record you've probably never heard of. New York City is home to the tallest building in the history of the world to be torn down on purpose. We're talking about a masterpiece that was, for a time, the tallest building on the entire planet. The year was 1968. And the building was the magnificent Singer Building, an absolute jewel of the skyline that was just sacrificed for what people called modernity.
I mean, the contrast is just wow. The Singer Building was this gorgeous Beaux Arts masterpiece with all this incredible detail. But its elegant, skinny design meant the office spaces inside were seen as too small, too inefficient. And its replacement, One Liberty Plaza, is a stark, functional black box with huge open floors. In the end, rentable square footage just won out over architectural beauty.
But an even bigger tragedy for many New Yorkers was tearing down the original Pennsylvania Station back in 1963. It was a breathtaking building modeled on the ancient Roman baths of Caracalla. I mean, it was just epic. Its destruction was so traumatic that it actually sparked the modern historic preservation movement. It directly led to the creation of the Landmarks Preservation Commission, which is the whole reason we still have places like Grand Central Terminal today. Okay, so we've looked at what's under the ground and what's been lost to time. But some of the city's greatest secrets, well, they're not gone at all. They're just hiding right in front of you. It's a weird question, I know, but in a city like New York, the answer is a definite yes. Some buildings are literally designed to deceive you,
to look like one thing when there's secretly something else entirely. So picture this. You're taking a walk through beautiful Brooklyn Heights, and you pass 58 Joralemon Street. It looks like just another classic brownstone. But if you get a little closer, you'll notice the windows are just solid black. There's nobody home. Because it isn't a home. It's a fake front, a facade that's hiding a critical piece of city infrastructure, a ventilation building, an emergency exit for the subway trains running right below your feet. A fake townhouse is pretty sneaky, I'll give you that. But what about a 550-foot-tall skyscraper right in the middle of Manhattan, with no windows at all? Yeah, this is 33 Thomas Street. Officially, it's a super secure telecommunications hub for AT&T. It's literally designed to withstand a nuclear blast. But investigative reports suggest it might be something more. A top-secret NSA surveillance site with the code name Titan Point that's tapping into global communications. A true building of secrets. But hey, not all of New York's secrets are so ominous. In fact, one of its most beautiful hidden gems is a place you can actually visit yourself. But only if you know the secret password, or the secret train route. This right here is the old City Hall station. It opened way back in 1904, and it was the original crown jewel of the entire subway system. It had these stunning arches, glass skylights, brass chandeliers, just gorgeous. But it closed down in 1945 because its beautiful curved platform couldn't handle the newer, longer trains. But here's the trick. Next time you're on a downtown 6 train, when it gets to its last stop, Brooklyn Bridge, City Hall, just don't get off. Stay on the train. It uses the old station's track to loop around, and for just a moment, you get to glide right through this perfectly preserved time capsule. So, from the ancient rock that shapes its skyline to the ghost stations hiding beneath its streets, New York is just packed with hidden stories. It's a great reminder that every city has its secrets. So the next time you're walking down the street in any city, look up, look around, and ask yourself, what stories are these buildings telling me? What other hidden masterpieces are out there, just waiting to be rediscovered?